All right, guys, when it comes to this next round of stimulus negotiations, the question is looming right now. Is President Biden still the man for the job? We're going to talk about that in details, as well as it looks like Bernie Sanders' arch nemesis for years, Joe Manchin, is at it again. And you'll hear what I'm talking about in regards to how he's trying to stop the infrastructure bills from being passed. And also, there is an organization out there right now working alongside with Congress to see if they can get a $1,400 stimulus check sent out to those that are on SSI, SSDI, railroad representatives, VA, as well as those that are on disability, retirees, and survivors. In other words, your fourth round of stimulus might be coming sooner than everybody else's. We're going to talk about that in details here on Mostly Money. You're watching Mostly Money, where you're going to get all facts, no fake, no phony, and no fluffed up information when it comes to this next round of stimulus negotiations and what's going on in politics today. And if you're interested in getting this information on a daily basis, well, you've made it to the right channel. All you need to do for yourself now is subscribe. Click that bell notification so you get the latest and greatest information coming from Mostly Money, because we're going to always be here for you and your loved ones. Let's get started. Looks like President Biden has the lowest poll numbers that he's had since the beginning of the...
Remember that the core argument that Joe Biden made for his candidacy was effectively, in a word, competence, right? I'm a guy who's been in politics for a really long time. I know how this stuff works. I've met foreign leaders. They all know me. I've seen domestic problems. I know how to solve them because I've seen it at the highest levels. When you have Afghanistan, the economy, the border, it starts to erode out that sense that this guy is the competent guy. Now, of course, it's not black and white. Joe Biden is not solely responsible for it in this country.
Now, what most people don't realize, President Biden does have a lot on his plate. He has to deal with the infrastructure stimulus bill being voted on. He also has to deal with the fact of Hurricane Ida and helping those survivors out. Also, he's dealing with, of course, that does not seem to want to go away, no matter how many are taking place, and the number of deaths are increasing on a daily basis. At the same time, he's dealing with what's going on in the flop of Afghanistan and trying to make sure he at least gets all the Americans out of there as soon as possible. At the end of the day, we have to realize there has not been a president over the last 20, 25 years that has not had a situation that was problematic. We had 9/11 that President Bush had to deal with. As soon as Obama became president, what ended up happening with him was the housing market crashed. We had President Trump also had the stock market crash in 2016. So each president has had a tempestuous moment that made their numbers dwindle and made American citizens not believe in that president. So anything that's happening to President Biden right now technically is not anything new. And as President Biden is focusing on trying to move the country forward, we have Bernie Sanders traveling across the country doing a campaign not on behalf of himself, but on behalf of the infrastructure stimulus bills.
Lauren, that's right. Sanders is back on the campaign trail, this time pushing for the passage of the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill. Just off the heels of a Midwest tour, Vermont's junior senator spent time in his own backyard this weekend, touting the ins and outs of the federal budget proposal to Vermonters. Hundreds came out to the Middlebury Green for the Labor Day town hall. Sanders calls the bill the most consequential piece of legislation in modern history for working Americans.
If we do not allow demagogues to divide us up based on the color of our skin or where we were born or our sexual orientation or our religion, if we are prepared to stand together and look these problems in the eye, not only can we solve them, we can move this country and world to a much better place, and that is exactly what we have to do.
As chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, Sanders has a pivotal role in crafting the proposal. He says it will fund expansion of child care, health care, and climate initiatives. Specifically, Sanders says it will make community college tuition free, extend the $300 per month child tax credit, and create a civilian climate course. Vermont Congressman Peter Welch also spoke out in support.
It's about the confidence that, you know what? We're entitled to have a government that pursues policies that allow us to achieve our aspirations, to be good neighbors, to create strong families, and to build strong communities.
The proposal has garnered criticism and backlash from many Republicans, who say it will just pile more onto the nation's growing debts.
But we have the majority, and we are damn well prepared to use that majority to do what has to be done.
In total, nearly 2,000 Vermonters attended Sanders town halls throughout the state this weekend.
Now, Bernie is trying to remind individuals nationwide to put pressure on your senators as well as those in the House of Representatives to vote for the $3.5 trillion stimulus bill. It is very important that this bill goes through because we have individuals such as Senator Joe Manchin. As I said before, he's always been the type that does not like Bernie Sanders because Bernie has always stood for the people. There are a lot of people that love Bernie, but there's a lot of people in Congress that do not like Bernie Sanders. And Senator Joe Manchin has never hid the fact that he's one of them.
Senator Joe Manchin is urging fellow Democrats to hit the pause button on that $3.5 trillion spending bill, saying there are more urgent priorities.
I would ask my colleagues and all of the Senate to hit the pause button on the 3.5. Hit the pause button. Let's sit back. Let's see what happens. We've got so much on our plate. We really have an awful lot. I think that would be the prudent, wise thing to do. I know they're going to go nuts right now because it's probably being, what I just said is going to all my caucus in Washington.
Here they come.
The night before we voted on the bipartisan infrastructure bill, Bernie Sanders wanted to talk to me. And Bernie and I respect Bernie truly is a very, very much a socialist. He really is, and he makes no bones about it. I know where he's coming from. I know who he is, and I respect that. He don't make any bones. He don't try to hide it. So Bernie said, Joe, you know, I can this bill, which is the bipartisan infrastructure bill. And I said, Bernie, I know you probably could if you wanted to. And I says, I guess if people in Vermont don't need the roads fixes, bridge fixes, water, sewer, internet, go home and tell them to hell with you. You're not going to do it. That's all. I said, yeah, you can go ahead. And he said, well, I can on the other side. And I said, well, go over and tell them to go home and tell everybody what you don't need. Then he looked at me and said, you going to vote for the $3.5 trillion? I said, hell no, Bernie, I'm not voting for $3.5 trillion. He says, looked at me and said, well, at least you're honest with me. I said, Bernie, I'm willing to work with you and let's see what we need and what we can afford to pay for. But just putting an arbitrary number, no, I'm not going to do that.
There are 50 Democrats in the Senate. They have to get all of them united. And what the Democratic leaders have in mind is for them to put together this massive proposal, upwards of $3.5 trillion, by mid-September, by September 15th. And they want this to pass by the end of September. And the reason why that is essential is because at that point, Nancy Pelosi has promised to put that separate infrastructure bill that has already passed the Senate, to put that on the House floor by September 27th. But that will not pass the House because progressives refuse to support that unless the Senate Democrats approve that larger $3.5 trillion plan. So if Manchin is saying hit pause, what happens to that separate bipartisan bill?
This past Monday, Labor Day, Joe Manchin, as you just watched, let us know that he's no longer interested in doing the budget reconciliation to where they don't need any Republican help. The Democrats in the Senate can vote this bill right on through of the $3.5 trillion. But he has said, let's put a pause on it. Let's halt it. In other words, once again, he's holding up the bill being passed. The same one when President Biden said that he wanted to give each American citizen $2,000. Well, the reason why you didn't get that $2,000 and you only got $1,400 was because of Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin was the one that would not vote on your behalf to make sure that you receive your $2,000 stimulus payment. And he's the one right now that is saying that if he does vote for the stimulus, it will not be 3.5. It may end up being only $2 trillion. What does that mean? A lot of programs are going to be cut off, like free community college is going to cut that out. When it comes to medical needs or Medicare with the free hearing, dental, and vision, that'll be cut out. Maybe the stimulus checks that individuals are trying to put a proposal together for, that will be cut out as well. So when it comes to Senator Joe Manchin, there's a lot that he wants to cut out by saying if Bernie votes against the restructuring of the $3.5 trillion, then that would impact the people of Vermont, where Bernie is from. He's trying to use what's called sign language against Bernie Sanders. Sign language is this: whenever a person is wrong, whether it be a family member, friend, or a coworker, they often try to use what's called sign language instead of using facts. Sign language stands for S, they try to shame you. I, they try to insult you. G, they try to make you feel guilty. And also N, which also stands for the need to be right. So when it came to Joe Manchin, you listen to what he says, and a lot of time he's using sign language against Bernie Sanders, who's fighting on your behalf across the country. And speaking of fighting on your behalf, we have the Senior Citizens League, which has been reaching out to Congress because what they want to do is have a proposal put together, a separate proposal outside the infrastructure bill that will give a fourth $1,400 stimulus payment to those that are on SSI, SSDI, railroad representatives, VA, survivors, disability, and retirees. They want to get this money out to you because of several reasons. First reason is, even though the cost of living increase or the COLA increase looks like it's going to be 6.2%, remember this: the rate of inflation is flying up just as fast, where it's already at 5.4%. Also, they realize seniors cannot wait until January for the cost of living increase. Realize inflation is taking place. That means that medical is more expensive right now. Rent is going higher right now. Food expenses are higher than ever, as well as wintertime is coming. That means that the cost of utilities are going up. So this league realizes to make sure that there is extra money put into the pocket of retirees. They are fighting and working alongside with Congress to see if they can get a separate bill created for those that are on SSI, SSDI, railroad representatives, VA, retirees, as well as disability, so you receive as soon as possible a $1,400 stimulus check. We're going to keep you guys posted on the direction that this goes, because this is very important for those of you that are retired. We're going to give you all facts, no fake, no phony, and no fluffed up information when it comes to what's going on in politics today. And if you're interested in getting this information on a daily basis, well, you've made it to the right channel. All you need to do now is subscribe. Click that bell notification so you get the latest and greatest information coming from Mostly Money. We're going to always be here for you and your loved ones.